I really appreciate you taking time out of your lunch break to talk with us and go over some of this information. So if you could just talk about these forms again and let me know what y'all were discussing.
Well, the first one we're looking at is notice to city employees on reporting of an accident. And some of the stuff on here we no longer do. We no longer have to contact the city attorney's office. And Johnson Municipal Hospital is no longer, the building is still there, but it's not Johnson Municipal Hospital. County Emergency Hospital is no longer there. And, County General is no longer there either. So, these hospitals, that's old stuff. But some of the stuff is the phone numbers. And if you notice, it's 2 letters and 5 digits.
Yeah.
Well, what the 2 letters are for is the switching station, the switchboard.
Okay.
I can remember my grandparents and my parents, where I grew up, my home phone number was Humboldt 10196. Well, if you look on your phone, Humboldt, HU, is 48. So when I memorized my phone number, I was probably 5 or 6. So that puts it 1964 or 65.
Okay.
So this document has to be older than that because these weren't used anymore.
Okay.
All right. It went to a 7-digit telephone situation. So if you look, BR1 would be 271.
Yeah. Okay.
ED would be 332.
Okay.
The other thing that's neat about this is you get a office number and a home phone number for the doctor, and then you get when you can call them at home.
Yeah. Wow.
And so thinking how would people obey that today in today's society? The society that we live in, would they adhere to those politeness rules, or ethics? The doctor's giving you his home phone number and telling you, Dr. Weinschel, you can only call his home on Thursdays between 10 and 12. What else is neat about this is the doctor that my grandmother worked for.
Really?
She was a nurse in that office, and I was in that office as a kid visiting my grandmother.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it when I saw this.
When did you notice that? When
he first brought it, Byron just brought this up.
Oh, just now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had never seen this before, and I'm going through the list of names, and I went Dr. Weinschel, and I know the address because that's Plankington, Wisconsin. We used to park west of Plankington and walk across Plankington Avenue.
Okay.
And there wasn't any street lights. There was a traffic cop that was directing traffic
Really?
in the middle of the intersection. So now these were the doctors that if you got hurt on the job, if the injured employee spelt incorrectly.
Yeah, twice too.
Yes. So if the injured employee is entitled to a city doctor, he shall have the right to make choice of any of the following. And then the city doctor will be paid by the city. If you get your own doctor, the city will not pay the bill. Now that's changed.
Okay.
Because we have the right to seek medical treatment from any health provider we want to see. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now whether it's an on-the-job injury or not, and whether the city pays or our primary health care pays, that's up in the air. But we're directed to go to Concentra now if we're hurt on the job, but we don't have to. It's not mandatory.
Okay.
We can go to any hospital or any healthcare provider we want. So this is pretty compacted. I mean, it's a pretty small list of they're all listed as surgeons. Then the eye doctors, there's 4 listed, and then 2 dentists. And some, 36th and Valete is a dentist office. Now, if you look at some of this other stuff, 17th in Wisconsin, that's Marquette. There's probably, and then Thomas Foley, is that in relation to Foley and Lardner? Is that a grandson? Is this a grandpa or an uncle or Foley and Lardner, the big law firm? When I saw that name, I was wondering what was going on. So, and then this is a document that housing manager V.G. Berry would give out to residents. And it has space for name, date, the address, and inspected by. And the exterior of your home has been inspected, and the following items require your attention. Mow the lawn, which still takes place. The residents at Berryland are still supposed to mow their lawn. Trim grass at building, shrub beds, parking area, and curb, which is still supposed to take place. Remove dandelions. Water the grass. We don't give notice of that.
I saw some people had.
Yeah,
is
absolutely.
Is it their own personal choice?
It's their
they
own
can water
personal-
their own
yes.
lawn if they
Yes.
so choose, and if not, then
Yeah, and there's 4 hose bibs on each building. There's at least 4 hose bibs on each building. Cedar side bare spots, we take care of that. Loosen soil around shrubs. Get tight-fitting lid for garbage can or new can and chain for cover. Well, now there's dumpsters out here, so that's gone. Improper.
Do you recall a time when you were? How long ago were you? When did you start working?
I started working here. I started working for the Housing Authority in 1988.
Okay.
The dumpsters were already in place.
Oh, all right.
The dumpsters were already in place. When I was coming out here in the 60s, my aunt and uncle moved out of here in 68, roughly 68, 69. There were still garbage cans.
All right.
So somewhere in between 68, 69, and 88, it went from garbage cans to the dumpsters.
All right.
Improper vehicles, the residents are still bound by a parking spot. They have to have a parking permit, so that's still valid. Remove debris from window wells. We do that. Again, something about garbage cans and covers. Mark garbage cans and covers. That's no longer. Remove debris from yard and garbage area. Well, we do that. Pardon me?
Who upstairs?
One of the gentlemen.
And why?
They're up there with.
I want to know why, first of all.
They're up there with blueprints, taking pictures. There.
I want to know why. That should be my mom.
They're in that back room. Do not air bedding or rugs from windows. Air dry clothes.
There was another lady that mentioned when we talked to Joan Davis, and she had talked about the laundry drying
Clotheslines.
Clotheslines. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we took those out.
Do you remember when?
That was 90, 92, 93, 94.
Okay.
Yeah, we came out and cut all of them off.
Was there a reason for that? I mean, people were just not utilizing them, or
It wasn't. They weren't utilizing them, and some of them were in disrepair, and kids were using them to hang on, and it wasn't. They were uprights with horizontal pieces of metal, with hooks that people could hang clothesline from. So they'd string clothesline back and forth, and it just got to a situation where they weren't being utilized, and the housing authority made a determination that, for safety reasons, we should remove them. So that's what happened.
all right.
Clean wall panel around milk chute.
Mm-hmm.
I had a milk chute in my mom and dad's house when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
It's long since. Well, the house has long since been sold, but sometime in the 70s when my dad had aluminum siding, that vinyl aluminum siding put on the house, it was covered up.
And how did that work? The milk chutes, how'd that work?
You put empty bottles in the milk chute, and the milkman came and took the empties out, and if you had 3 empties in the milk chute, you got 3 full bottles of milk put back. There was a door on the outside and a door on the inside.
Okay.
So, and it was big enough for quarts of milk. The ledge inside was big enough to hold quarts of milk, and the milkman would open up the outside door and take the bottles out and put the new ones in, and then all you had to do was open up the inside on the inside wall and put your milk in the refrigerator.
And did you come every day?
No, there was a schedule once a week, or I can't remember. We had Borden's, and I can't remember if it was I'm pretty sure it was once a week. But we milk and eggs and cheese, and you could leave a list, and he'd have stuff to drop off.
The milkman would do all
Yeah,
any
sure.
sort of dairy products.
Yeah, yeah.
Right in that.
In the milk chute, or some people had a box.
And you pay him at the end of the week or something. They
Yeah.
put you a bill.
Yeah.
Whatever. Wow.
Yep.
Right. And do these units here? Do they currently have milk chutes remaining, or were those covered?
Those have long been covered. They're long gone.
Okay. Before.
Yeah, there's
as far as you can remember.
Yeah, no, I haven't been in a unit out here where I've seen. I wouldn't even be able to tell you if you look on the outside on the brick, if you could see where the milk chutes were. And usually you'd be able to tell how the brick was filled in, but I can't remember looking at a building and saying, oh yeah, that's where the milk chutes were.
And do you remember your aunt and uncle? Do you remember them having milk chute?
I remember it. I vaguely remember something framed out in the wall, but I don't know if that was a telephone ledge or if that was, a milk chute with the door that had been taken off and just, made for another, used for another purpose.
Sure.
Because I can't remember if that was in the kitchen. I can't remember where that was. 'Cause that's a long time ago.
Sure.
But the residents were responsible for putting up their storm windows. And that's long been replaced with what we have out here with the aluminum security screens and the windows that we have. There's no longer outside hung storm windows.
Anybody else upstairs? Just Nathan, yeah.
So, and then that other document is just, now this, there's actually a date. So we're looking at something after 68 or 68 because of the Title 8 of the Civil Rights Act. And this is just something that had to be posted that let the public know that we do business in accordance with the Federal Fair Housing Law, which is still what we have to do.
Okay.
But I know that this document is the newest. These other documents are much older than this document just because of how the telephone numbers are listed on this one.
Sure. Which one here?
Employment benefits. If you're out of work for a calendar week or less, or earn less than half pay, claim benefits at the nearest state employment office. So it's not unemployment office, it's state employment office. That office will also help you find a job. That's interesting, huh?
Yeah.
So again, that's something else that would have to be posted in the, kind of like this office, there was a fire in this office, and that's why there's a lot of things that changed here, but most offices that you're going to have a court poster board, or, where where federal and state documents are posted so that the employees and public know what takes place. I think ours is by the front door.
Some more right over here. OSHA.
Yeah, this is new stuff though. This is stuff that's all current.
Yeah. Well, thanks for explaining those documents to us.
Sure,
Really
not a problem.
appreciate it.
Wow.
This drawer.
Yeah. That's some good stuff in there. So this was used by the maintenance men, is that
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, here's a document from.
Document.
This is 1970. That's June of 70. This is February of 70. Resilient floor covering. And this is South Lawn, North Lawn, and Berry Lawn.
Berry
So
Lawn.
that's what I was,
The same.
explaining about the 3 veterans developments.
Porch steps.
Prevailing salaries and wages. I wonder if is Davis Bacon in here? Sure it is. It's listed right here. It's predetermined by the Secretary of Labor of the United States pursuant to the Davis-Bacon Act. You know what the Davis-Bacon Act
I
is?
don't know what the Davis-Bacon Act.
Davis-Bacon Act is anytime there's public funding for any type of project, they have to use prevailing wage.
Okay.
So if they're, that's why it's so important from a union standpoint that states don't go right to work. Because when there's right to work legislation, it opens shops up to non-union labor, which drops wages. So any type of trade work is based on prevailing wage of the area. So there's a standard that has to be held. So if a carpenter, the average pay of a carpenter in the state of Wisconsin is $28 an hour. That's what a carpenter that works on a public project has to be paid.
Okay.
Or an electrician, or, so that's Davis-Bacon. And actually, Bacon was a Republican legislator from the East Coast, and Davis was a Republican also, and they enacted this act, which is now anti-Republican.
Workers' rights.
Sure.
Yeah. Union approach.
Caulking of certain masonry. Re-roofing of buildings.
Up in the 70s.
Yeah. Yep. So there was a lot of work that happened out here in 1970 because these are all specifications for bids that went out to do the job. Hot mix asphalt.
Yeah, 1947.
Wow.
Visions. 65 years ago. Manual on air fields. Okay, these.
What's that one? I'll tell you what. You take that. Just take it.
Take that?
Put it in your pocket. Hide it.
You serious?
Yeah, I'm serious. The only reason I'd like to have this one.
Yeah.
So,
Wow, this is fantastic. Oh, well, yeah, I'll take this back to our
yeah,
conference room and show. So anything else? I mean, would there just be one maintenance guy? Would there be a couple that use
well,
the space?
there's always been, well, I shouldn't say that. When I started, there were 2 people out here.
Okay.
Before I started, I know there were 3, just from talking to guys.
Okay.
At one point in time, there was 1,
When was that you said?
1988.
88? Okay.
And now there's a need for more than 1 guy again because, you know, just because of the residents that, you know, it's a lot of single parent families, a lot of women, and their mechanical nature just, you know,
Yeah.
so.
Did you ever use this space or anything? Or was this
Well,
storage?
see, no. The old shop used to be just one apartment, and after the fire, we took over the apartment next door. So if you go out in front, you'll see on the next porch over, there's only 1 front door. That's because we took over two sides.
Okay.
So at the other developments, when I worked at North Lawn, I had a key machine down here. I mean, I had vices. I used the workbench and the workspace in the basement. But they put in this ungodly
Yeah.
air handling unit. And,
Oversized.
yeah.
Now we heard that some of the benches, there were work benches in all of the apartment units, the original apartment units in the
Oh, see, I
basement.
didn't know that.
There's you can see in the concrete and in the walls there are small holes, and there would have been built-in
Now I know
workstation.
there used to be cubbies, you know, like a little storage, but I didn't know that there was actually a workstation.
There were workstations. That's what Byron was telling us.
Okay.
They have workstations in the basement, which is really interesting. And my hunch is that it would resemble maybe something like this, or it was built during the same time.
Mm-hmm. And I can open up the unit next door for you guys.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Just stick that somewhere on
Okay.
in a book bag or a mechanical job, and we had to draw up buildings,
Mhm.
you know, and rooms, and that was for a HVAC degree that I was working on.
Okay.
So there wasn't.
It's all by hand then,
It was
yeah.
all by hand on a board.
The lost art, yeah.
That's why I still make my 8s like snowmen.
Yeah.
You know, because that's what you did.
That's what they taught you, or?
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, lettering's something that,
Yeah, the
a
force.
skill.
You know, I mean,
Mhm.
the old German 7s
Mhm.
with the
The line through the
with
center.
the horizontal through the center.
Yeah, it's cool stuff. Yeah, we were looking for a date on this, but we couldn't find anything. I wonder. We do renderings now. we
Well,
do
I'll bet you
proposals, but
it's probably very close to the initial build. It's
Mhm.
probably close to 49 or 50, just because if they didn't eliminate stuff out of the neighborhoods,
Mhm.
I mean, this is still all undeveloped,
yeah, yeah.
you know. So, you know, now it's housing.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah, you
this
notice
is-
that, the streets are gone. There's
This
no
is
streets
this is Douglas.
there. Mhm.
So you've got, this is Sherman.
Mhm.
That's Hopkins. This is 42nd Street. This is Call. So this is 41st. So, you know, going across, this is 41st, 42nd. All of this is housing now.
Yeah.
Unless they just, you know, rendered it not pertinent to the drawing.
Mhm.
But you can see how things have changed. I mean, things have changed here.
There's little sheds on.
This is all parking lot now. Okay, so you go here, here, and here. This is
Oh,
all
really?
parking lot.
Okay.
There's a big green space here now, because you drive here, so the green space is here. This whole parking lot is eliminated. If you go over there and look, how much different it is.
And when did they do that? When was that changed?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, the Agape Center isn't here.
Yeah, that would have been.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
And now you can see how this parking lot has changed.
Mhm.
You know, because there's a big island of green in the middle
Yeah.
with a big round parking.
Okay.
That's interesting. I just noticed that. You know how.
Some of what we saw upstairs in those plans looked like that was changed in the 80s. And they did
Okay.
some different site work.
Okay.
But that was briefly, that was so, yeah.
Well, I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm sorry you couldn't spend more time.
Don't worry about it, it's okay. This is fantastic. This is, I mean, a lot of good information surrounding this.